We are joined now by Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, Robby Mook. Robby, thank you for joining us this morning. I take Cecilia's last point about a lot of early votes already in the bank, but our no poll shows Donald Trump ahead for the first time since May. Pretty dramatic drop over the last 10 days. Are you worried this race may slip away from you?
I'm not, George, but what we are focused on right now is making sure that every single one of our supporters understands how important it is that they turn out and vote. You know, the polls are going to go up and down. They've done that the whole time on this race. We have a week to go. We're running like we're 20 points behind.
There is some evidence that you have taken a hit in the polls since that announcement from FBI Director Comey, and you are now accusing him of a double standard. Hillary Clinton accusing him of bowing to partisan pressure. Are you worried at all that's going to come back to haunt you?
I don't think so, George. Director Comey's been criticized from both sides on this now. You have a former Attorney General under President Obama, a former Attorney General under George W. Bush, both saying this was a mistake. You've had former Justice Department officials saying it was a mistake. And then, you know, we've come to learn from anonymous leaks that are coming out that Director Comey's own superiors at Justice warned him not to do this. This is a break in protocol. And then just yesterday, we found out it was Director Comey who was privately trying to prevent the report that the Russians were the ones who stole emails from the DNC and from our campaign staff.
The New York Times is reporting this morning that FBI investigators have found no conclusive evidence of a direct link between Trump and the Russian government. Do you accept that?
Well, what we are told they're investigating, again, Director Comey said what he's doing with Hillary Clinton. He won't say what he's doing with Donald Trump, but what we're hearing from anonymous leaks is that they're investigating Donald Trump's ex-campaign manager over his connections to the Russians. They're investigating Carter Page, a gentleman who Donald Trump said was one of his foreign policy advisors.
This is a preliminary inquiry, not an investigation, to use the strict term.
Well, I'd like Director Comey to clarify all that. He had no problem going out and having a long press conference and editorializing about investigations into Secretary Clinton. I don't see why he can't come out and explain what's going on with Donald Trump. And it is particularly odd that he was the one who was privately trying to prevent the announcement that it was the Russians. When 17 security agencies said it was the Russians that were stealing our emails, he was the one trying to prevent that from being released.
Another report in the New York Times this morning suggesting that Donald Trump may have avoided hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes by failing to report forgiven debt as income. Now, we are going to ask David Bossie about that, but it sure appears that Mr. Trump is going to avoid releasing his tax returns before the election.
You know, George, this is unprecedented. For 40 years, people have gone to the polls having seen the candidates' tax returns. Early voting has already started. This is the first time in decades. And what's particularly astounding about this recent report is that Donald Trump was writing off other people's losses. So not only did he not pay taxes for 20 years, he was writing off other people's losses. Some of the loopholes he was using are now against the law.
1 week to go. You going to win?
We are going to win this election, but it's important that every one of our supporters turns out.
Robby Mook, thanks very much.
Thanks, George.